Hello, good morning. Dan Alasso again, making history, and it is day 26 of my retrenchment odyssey. One of the things that I started doing as soon as I was retrenched was moving my books out of my office on campus. Initially, I will admit, this was partially an emotional reaction. If BSU was in chaos, and if BSU doesn't value my contribution enough to figure out a way to keep me, why would I want to spend a lot of time there, was my thought. And I used to spend a lot of time in my office on campus, way beyond the office hours that are regularly required of faculty. I made a bunch of videos in my office. I brought in a large monitor to plug my notebook into. I also brought a coffee maker and a lot of plants in, so that it was a very comfortable space for me. I used to even go there on weekends when I wanted to do a block of work in a quiet place with no interruptions. That's all over now. Now I will do that in my own office at home with the cats. So it isn't quite as serene at times due to the cats, and also due to the fact that upstairs is our home gym and my daughter has begun using it to work out daily. But it's still super comfortable here, and I am very lucky to have a space like this. So this weekend I spent some of my time sorting through all the books that I brought back home to determine which ones I actually want to keep. If I'm not going to be a history professor anymore, which is a possibility, then there are some books that I can jettison. And even if I am going to teach a bit, the combination of things that I'll teach will probably not be exactly the same. The reason for that is that when I took over the job as an emergency fixed-term instructor in August of 2017, it was to take over the teaching responsibilities of a professor who unexpectedly got ill. And so I picked up some courses when I took that job that were based on the portfolio of the professor that had been my predecessor. So I held on to a bunch of her books that she kindly left for me, and I added some more on topics that I was a little bit less familiar with, that hadn't been part of my teaching fields. But since it's doubtful that I'll ever teach history of world religions again or women in history again, there are whole shelves of books that I can leave behind for the next person, if there is a next person, who teaches these courses at BSU. So as a result of this culling, I have created a whole pile of books that will take me several days, actually, to box up or bag up and return to campus. And once I bring them back, I will offer them to my colleagues, and the ones that they don't take, after a while, I'll probably offer to students. Maybe I'll just leave the office door unlocked and put a sign outside that says free books. I'll take home my coffee maker and the big monitor before I do that, because as I said, I'm not going to be going into campus anymore to do that kind of work. So I could use that monitor at home. It's still not entirely clear to me which projects I will be able to keep alive and which ones I will need to de-emphasize as this change happens. It is nice to have all of the books for each of those projects pretty much right behind me. And it will depend a lot on what I'm doing and where, I suppose. There are several things holding the family here right now. My wife has a job. We have all kinds of animals. There are things that we need to do to this house and property before we try to sell it. So I don't think that if I find some work that's far away for next year, that everybody will immediately pick up and move there. But in any case, if at some time we did move, lightening the load of non-essential books will be helpful. So that's just a little of the practical considerations of this retrenchment journey. And I suppose I'll have more to say about that as the situation develops. But in the meantime, I hope you found that a little bit interesting. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again